can you tell us the story how you became an artist, please?
The age-old question artists at some point in their lives ask themselves, should I quit my day job to pursue my art full-time? I wish the answer to that question were a simple yes, of course, but I'm afraid it isn't. Each individual is different, and the circumstances around every decision vary immensely. I also don't pretend to have all the answers. For starters, there are many questions you must ask yourself before even making this decision. For example, do you have money saved to cover your monthly expenses while you start selling? Do you already have clients lined up? Have you set yourself up as a business? Meaning, do you have an LLC, a business bank account, a website, social media profiles? Do you have a defined art style that will help you break away from the pack and make you unique? Do you have a large enough inventory of work to share with the world? I mean, you just can't start promoting your work if you only have 2 paintings or drawings to show. All these questions and many more should be answered with a resounding yes before even considering making the leap. But before diving into specifics of how I actually quit my job to become a full-time artist, I think it's important for me to give you a little bit of a background as to how I actually developed my love for art. When I was around 9 years old, I developed a passion for cartoons. I was drawn to the simple, yet playful, black outlines that brought to life all these marvelous characters. So one day, I decided I wanted to draw them. So I picked up some white paper and a pencil and started by looking at the cartoons and drawing them out little by little. I believe what really attracted me to them was that these characters were created with a visually different interpretation of the human anatomy. I mean, they had eyes, arms, legs, heads, hands, feet, but they were very unique and playfully conveyed as many feelings and emotions as any realistic drawing I had ever seen. And within that whole cartoon world, each particular artist had their own style, and I found that to be really fascinating, teaching me early on the importance of having your own particular art style. We do have a video on developing your art style in case you want to check it out later. By the 7th grade, a friend of mine and myself shared this passion for drawing cartoons and dedicated countless hours to filling a notebook with these characters we had invented. Stories upon stories filled the composition notebook. Endless characters in unusual situations and locations adorned the pages, which we enjoyed looking at after we drew them, laughing at their crazy occurrences. Then one day, as we were browsing our treasured notebook in class, the teacher snuck behind us and took the notebook. As she walked to the front of the class, mumbling about how class is for learning and not for drawing, she ripped our notebook to shreds and sent us on our way to the principal. As my friend and I stood in front of the principal listening to her blabber, I could only focus on the destroyed notebook laying on top of her desk. The pain I felt was so deep, I'm not sure how I held back my tears. She said something to the effect of, "You're not getting this back. That way you learn your lesson." What lesson would that have been? After that day, I never drew again until I left high school. At the time, nobody suggested I pursue a career in art because it was expected for everybody to go study medicine or law or engineering or business, so that's what I did. Of course, as a result, my college career was a bit tumultuous and uneven until I decided to focus in communications and art. During this time, I picked up drawing again and never felt happier. After graduating from college, the logical path was to work in advertising, which is what I did for a short while. Computer design was in its infancy, so creating logos and print ads was as creative as anyone could be. Plus, compensation was mediocre at best. After a short while, I decided that advertising design was not for me, so I got a job at a marketing research firm. Unexpectedly, my career took off, and I ended up working for various multinational corporations in marketing for approximately 15 years. Marketing did allow me to be creative, but in a different way that didn't involve me drawing. It wasn't until around 2004 that my dad, I think it was his birthday, and he told me he bought a canvas, some paint, and some paintbrushes. And he said, "Can you paint me something for my house?" It was a small canvas. And I was like, "Oh, wow." And so I did it. I painted something for him. It's very different to what I paint now in terms of style, but it felt great. It had been probably 12, 14 years since I had picked up a paintbrush and painted anything. It felt great. A little bit after that, some acquaintances asked me the same thing. Can you paint something for us? We'll get you the materials and maybe we'll compensate you. So, this time around, there was actually money involved, and that was, I think, a turning point in my art career. I told you this story in order to underline how different each person's path in life is. For some of you, you might become an artist right after art school, or right after you decide to, if you're a self-taught artist, and then that's your path. Always stay true to your passion, but focus on what you have in front of you at that moment. Particularly if it's keeping you afloat, be it my career, like in my case, or if you have another job or another thing that you may be doing, focus on that. But always, if you study art or you have an interest in art, stay always connected to it. What I mean by that is, like what happened with my dad. That was, for me, a hidden opportunity to pursue the thing that I had always loved. The worst traps that artists can fall into is thinking that they're not ready, that their art is not ready. People talk about, this artist or that artist, they got lucky. I believe in that old saying that says the harder I work, the luckier I get. So that's what the true meaning of being lucky is opening yourself up for different opportunities. I think there's a misconception, or there has always been, at least in my perception, that you become an artist, that somebody out there is just gonna come knock in your door and say, "Hey, Alex, I think your art is great. Come, I'm gonna represent you and make you famous." Things just don't happen that way. I'm not saying that they haven't happened that way, but that's gonna be the rarest exceptions rather than the rule. The rule is you work hard, you put yourself out there, and that's what's going to create opportunities. You go along with the path that you have in front of you. In my case, it was my career. In your case, it might be something different, but you always, stay true to what your passion is, open to the opportunities. I could have said no to my dad. I could have said no to the acquaintances that wanted me to paint because I felt like I wasn't ready or I had my career. No, I just opened up myself to that and I pursued it. And that's, I think the message here. So be patient, right? But always keep moving. I don't know if that makes sense. Be patient, but move. Don't just wait around. And I think good things will happen. So there it came, the moment when I finally got to charge actual money for a painting. And what an awesome feeling that was. Somebody's actually paying me their hard-earned money for me to paint something to put on their wall, in their house. It was one of the most humbling experiences I had ever lived. And when it happens to you, you must treasure that first time and always remember that your calling is greater than yourself. As a paid artist, you have a responsibility not only with your client, but with yourself as an artist and with art as a whole. That feeling will drive you to give your best every time you paint something. It's an honor. Treasure it. So there you are. You either have a job that you don't like, or you have a career maybe, but you feel unfulfilled, right? You want to do your art. Then those first art sales come in. Now, what do? You think, hey, maybe I can do this. But you also have to remember that as those first sales come, you're gonna have to keep on searching for more and more clients to keep those sales coming. You cannot just rest on your laurels and think, oh, I made some sales, I'm ready to go. No, you have to start planning and seeing, okay, how do I generate more sales? So now you hit a crossroads. On one hand, you have a career or a job which keeps you afloat, provides you a living, or on the other hand, you have the unknown that you call your passion. Basically, the hardest decision many of you artists face. You either keep your current job and work on your art on your spare time, so sort of to get a glimpse of what might be, start generating clients, start generating sales, get comfortable, or B, quit your job and go all in, knowing what your risks and rewards could be. So what I did is I kept putting myself out there, and a little bit after that, I found an opportunity to exhibit my art at a furniture store in the design district in Miami during Art Basel. That experience exposed me to new clients as well as working with my first art gallery. If you want to hear the story of how I got to show at that gallery, you can watch on the video link up top later on. As all these things started happening, I knew it was time to take the leap and go all in. It was scary. Heck, 15 years later, it still is. I was leaving the comfort of salary, bonuses, company cars, expense accounts, paid health insurance to dedicate myself to one of the lowest paying careers there are, at least at the beginning. Art is a tough business. Don't believe anyone who tells you otherwise. But I knew with every fiber of my being that it was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And to be honest, you can't really become good at what you're doing putting part-time effort into it. You just have to make the commitment to your craft and be willing to adjust to your new reality. In conclusion, my suggestion is to jumpstart your career while you are still working at your regular job, especially when you're young and have lots more energy. Start producing art in your spare time and look for opportunities to show it. Find a mentor. Study other artists that you may look up to. Join artist groups or forums and start getting involved with the arts community. This can be in person or on social media. Use your current job to get feedback on your art if possible. Remember, there is no one-size-fits-all method for this. I'm just sharing my experience. We all have our own path.
Things you should know before quitting your job to become an artist.
What is your big why? Is it a burning passion to master your craft that drives you? Maybe you just want to share your creations with the world or teach others about art. Maybe you have a desire to become rich and famous. You must learn how to make money with your art for sure, but remember, you will be doing this day in and day out. So having a purpose is the one thing that is going to keep you together and motivated to keep on going. Remember to always be true to yourself and what you stand for. When you run your business, you're gonna have to wear many hats. It's not always gonna be working on a cool art project. Of course, it will be important to create and develop a large body of work, but eventually you have to start selling it in order to make money and support your career. This will involve promoting yourself, networking, creating content for social media, and many other things. As a matter of fact, most of my working day is spent on everything besides creating art. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are certain basic things you must take care of before even thinking about going solo. Register your professional name as a business. Build a website, at least with a landing page with links to your social media and photos of your portfolio. Create social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and post regularly. Open a Linktree account. It's great to share all your links in one. Print business cards or Popple for your phone to share your contact info when you're out and about. Open a business bank account. Don't mix your personal money with your business. Open a Square account and get a credit card reader to take credit card payments. And finally, start building your community and following as soon as possible through social media and generating an email list. You must look professional in order for clients to take you seriously. I mean, ask yourself, would you buy something from someone who doesn't even have a website? Any entrepreneur will tell you that in order to reach any goals you may have, you must work very hard for it. A career in art is no different. Anyone who tells you a romantic story about how they make money with their art easily by working little is either extremely lucky or is lying to you. Art sales, as with any type of sales really, is very unstable. There are many factors that go into it. For example, the art taste of customers. What are they looking for in art style? The size of a presentation? Do you work large, small format, your medium? Economic outlooks like recessions also affect art purchases. For example, 2007 to 2010 were terrible times for my art sales. You have to be ready for the bad times as you are for the good times. Even though you must focus on the business aspect of your career, you still must find time to consistently create new work. Not only to build up your inventory, but to practice and develop your art. As artists, we must evolve and grow constantly. You will realize with time that even your most devoted followers and collectors sort of expect new things from you. You yourself will also get a bit bored here and there if you always create the same things or use the same media and come up with similar subjects and color patterns. That's why you must experiment by taking different approaches towards your mechanics. Wondering how it is to use spray paint? Try it. An artist friend wants to work on a collaboration? Go for it. Step out of your comfort zone. We as humans are creatures of habit, and complacency is where creativity goes to die. There are countless new skills we can learn, taught by different artists willing to share their amazing skills with us. Last year, I learned how to edit videos by watching tutorials on YouTube. This year, I am looking at experimenting with animations. This all means that when you decide to pursue your career as an artist, you must become an expert at what you do. As in any other industry, potential clients can tell the difference between a professional and an amateur. Always work hard on yourself to become the best version of you. During the years, I have taught art therapy classes at juvenile detention centers. I have also designed logos and websites for clients. Some have even asked me to help them decorate their homes in exchange for compensation. But maybe at some point, you might even have to get a part-time job. Whatever helps to keep you afloat while you develop consistent sales. Another side benefit of working second jobs is that you meet new people and can share your art with them. Everyone is curious about meeting an artist. Don't get discouraged if this is the case. Look at it as a means to an end, especially if you're young and are just starting out. As a matter of fact, a 2018 survey of 3,000 artists produced the following results. 60% of artists make less than $30,000 a year. 19% make more than $50,000 a year. 61% of them do freelance work on the side, and 42% of all artists have a second job. It's tough out there, no doubt, but it depends on how much you want it and what focus you put into it. There are many ways to be an artist. Find yours. Are you waiting for the perfect time to quit? Well, sorry to say, but there isn't one. Quitting your job and your career is a very big decision. It takes a lot of time and scrutiny, so plan accordingly. But in the end, the decision is all yours to make. Ask yourself, what am I really waiting for? My message to you is pursue your passion, but do it with a plan and approach it as a business. Define what success means to you. Is it money, recognition, accolades, followers? This will help you manage your expectations and relieve a lot of the pressure you will feel. For me, success is waking up every day happy about what I am doing with my life. And what makes me happy? Having a client ask me to paint a family portrait for them, or receiving a note from a customer telling me they smile every time they walk past my painting. Opening up a new canvas and starting a new project. And of course, selling many paintings at one of my shows. Yet lately, I get a lot of satisfaction by working with nonprofits, mentoring younger artists, and navigating this crazy YouTube journey with my daughter. You see, success is different for everyone, as it is both tangible and subjective. And in the end, we need both to feel happy. You will have good days and bad days, times when you sell a lot and others when you don't, seasons where you will question, am I good enough? And what will keep you going is that love you have for art and creating. Remembering that 10-year-old kid who drew cartoons on notebooks. And that will be worth more than all the money and accolades in the world.